Trustee Qin.
Oh, my question is actually Trustee Halberstadt just asked for the parent speakers and regarding the materials of the reading materials and what's the procedure of us to choose the materials and who approve that and if we consult the parents regarding what kind of materials is appropriate to the kids of young age. So I'm asking for the parent speaker. Thank you.
And is that Superintendent Howitts?
Thank you for the question, and through you, Madam Chair. We're guided by our strategic priorities with everything that we do. And one of those strategic priorities refers to diverse communities. And so one of our goals, and it's been presented multiple times in public session with the Board of Trustees, available to the public, is we do look at our resources so that they're reflective of the students that we serve. I presented to you just a few weeks ago the Indigenous and Black Student Voice Forum results, where one of the resounding commentaries was students need to see themselves in the curriculum and the resources. We do serve students that are gender fluid, that are non-binary, and so we do have resources that are reflective of those students. And remember, it's always a two-prong approach. It's always that we want our students to see themselves like they're looking in a mirror when they're seeing the resources and the curriculum text within the schools. But we also want to create windows for allowing others to understand and develop an appreciation for different cultures and people. In addition, we've shared that we are conducting reviews of library resources, and we started that with the Indigenous community, and we consulted with the Indigenous community through our IEAC. We have started the review of Black resources. They are presently being leaded in our libraries. Next on the list is a review of Pan-Asian resources, a review from a Muslim perspective, and a review from 2S LGBTQIA perspective, and that we will continue that cycle. We regularly purge our materials of materials that are antiquated, inappropriate, and reflective of contemporary beliefs that align with our strategic priorities and the beliefs of our board. So do we consult with parents about that? We have teachers that give us input to materials, but again, the resources that we're putting forward in our libraries are reflective of all students that we serve. And the one book that was shared at the podium, we do have in our library collection. The second book that was referred to, my understanding is it's not in our library collection. That particular book demonstrates that mothers are not a monolithic perspective, just like any other culture, that we don't want to describe people in a monolithic perspective. But my understanding is that book is not in our resource collection. It may be as a professional resource, but not in our active library collection. I hope that gives you an understanding of how we do things.
Supplemental, thank you. Thank you for your explanation. And I do see in our material of this meeting that the most important work in the province of Ontario is justice, inclusion, equity, and diversity. Actually, when I read this, I have a consideration. I think that quality education is not our most important priority now. We focus more on this justice, inclusion, equity, and diversity. And for different people, they have different understanding about what is fairness, what is justice, equity, and diversity. And I think when we talk about this topic, we may have to balance. We cannot go extremely one way, and regardless what it is, and provide steadfast support. What I mean is that different groups have different understanding about this, like inclusive, like fairness, and we can. cannot say which kind of understanding is correct or not. So it's better to be careful, not to go far extreme. And
Is there a question?
you know,
Is there a question?
my question is that how we, uphold this justice, inclusion, equity, and diversity. How we, balance that and make appropriate practice in the school system.
Thank you for the question. I should have added in my last response that the resources that we have in our classrooms and that we have in our library are not separate from curriculum expectations and research that align with the Ontario curriculum. And justice, equity, inclusion, and diversity and accessibility is not something that is a separate item. It is integrated into all that we do and connected to the curriculum. So it's hard to separate. And my question in response was how do we determine which group who is excluded? And the point is that no one should be excluded. That's the message that we're following in the board. Really proud of that we do that in the board, and we need to really respond to all students. And that's why that there's availability so students see themselves within the curriculum and the resources. So nobody is promoting one over the other. It is just availability for all students to see themselves and feel valued. That's, I think, a very important message that we cannot lose sight of in leaders in public education.
Thank you very much. Trustee Sipkar and then Trustee Hope.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. My question goes in a completely different